অয়ন লিখেছে কতজন সাবস্ক্রাইবার পাওয়া গেল ট্রাইবালি প্রোটেস্ট লিখেছে।
হ্যাঁ face the front of the mat. We're going to take a thread the needle. Left hand plants firmly, right arm heels up and open as you gaze over your right fingertips. And then take your right hand, bring it right under your left shoulder. Bring your shoulder all the way to the ground, right ear meets the ground. Your left fingertips could tent up. Or if it feels good, you could wrap your left arm behind your back. Keep pushing slightly down into the ground with your right forearm to open up through the back body, open up through that right deltoid. Take another full breath in, then a bigger breath out. Good. Left fingertips come back down onto your left shoulder. Push into your left hand to peel all the way back up. Gaze under your armpit. And then circle your right arm forward and down. We take it to the other side. Right hand plants firmly. Left arm peels open and up. Good. Thread the left arm under, left shoulder to the ground, left ear to the ground. Right fingertips might tent up when you point your right elbow to the sky. Or again, if it felt okay on that first side, maybe wrap the right arm behind the back. You want to put a little pressure, actively pushing the left arm down into the ground. Yoga isn't all about passive stretching. Yes, you're stretching, but you're activating other areas of the body to help bring out that length, to help target certain joints. So a lot of shapes are actually quite a bit of work. Go ahead and unwind. Right hand comes down into your shoulder. Use it to press your way up. Left arm reaches to the sky one more time. Circle the arm forward and down. We're going to take a couple more cat-cows, but this time, as your belly drops and your heart pulls forward, broaden across your collarbones, imagine you're opening jars with your hands. And then as you exhale, slowly round your spine, lift your knees just to hover, stretch out the tops of your ankles. Good. Slowly drop your knees, belly drops, heart pulls forward. Imagine you're opening those jars, external rotation of your shoulder. Keep that external rotation as you round, curl, lift the knees, come onto the tops of the toes. One more time. Drop your knees, heart pulls forward, open the jars, pull the heart through. Exhale, round, curl, lift. So good. Tap your knees down. Tuck your toes this time, and lift your hips up and back for your first downward facing dog. Pedal it out, spread your fingers wide. And what you want to be looking for here is actually quite a bit of work happening in the finger pads. You're pushing the finger pads down into the ground. Maybe you're letting your hips sway a little side to side as you work out the backs of the legs. Let the head be super heavy, neck is soft. Wrap your armpits in towards one another. And then firm up your thighs, lifting the kneecaps and working your heels towards the ground. The heels don't have to touch. And if it feels better, you can always have a bend at the knees. Go ahead and nod your head yes. And shake your head no. You're always looking for both effort, but also ease in every shape we take. So maybe find that ease in the jaw or the face. Take another full breath in. And a bigger breath out to press your heart closer to your thighs. Good. Inhale, ripple your spine forward to a high plank. Pause. Shoulders are stacked over the wrists. And again, imagine you're opening jars. So the biceps are wrapping forward, the triceps are wrapping back, the thighs are engaged. Gaze towards the top of your mat, and then tap your knees down. We're going to take a modified chaturanga. So keep reaching your heart forward. Start bending at your elbows. Elbows are grazing the rib cage, not pointing out wide. Hold halfway for 3. We'll lower to our bellies in 2. 1, lower all the way onto the belly and tuck your toes. We're going to take a baby cobra 3 times. So maybe you peek up at me for the first one. Hands are next to the rib cage. Peel your heart away from the mat using the back body. The neck stays long. Your gaze stays straight down at the top of the mat. Shoulder blades squeeze together. And then you lower forehead to tap. So join me when you're ready. Inhale, peel away from the earth, not by pushing into the hands so much as using the back body to lift and squeeze. Exhale to tap your forehead. Good. 2 more. Inhale, peel up. Push into the tops of the feet. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze the elbows together. Exhale, release. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. Now push into your palms all the way back to a child's pose. Knees wide. Big toes come to touch. So that's your most basic version of what we call a vinyasa, or a chaturanga, to a heart opener, to a closed hip position, either child or a down dog. And that variation is always available to you. Come forward through your tabletop around your spine. Good. And then drop your belly, find your cow pose, heart pulls forward. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Hamstrings should be feeling a little bit more open now. We're going to make our way to the top of the mat. So gaze forward between your hands. Soft bend at your knees. Start to walk your feet to the top of the mat. And once you can't walk anymore, you can crawl your hands a little further forward. We're just meeting in a forward fold. And if it feels good for you to use blocks in your practice, that's totally fine. And I'll give you some areas in which you might use blocks if you're having trouble reaching the ground with your hands. Good, grab onto opposite elbows, sway a little from side to side. Your feet could be a little wider than hips distance. Nod your head yes. Shake the head no. Good. Heel toe your feet back to hips width. And then soft bend at your knees, let your head be super heavy, let your arms be super heavy, and slowly start to roll your way up your spine, rooting down through your feet to lift up through your spine. And as you work your way to the top, thighs start to engage, kneecaps lift, pubic bone pulls forward, low belly pulls in, heart reaches forward, shoulders pull back, and then plug the heads of the shoulders down the spine. Good. This is your mountain pose, Tadasana. Take a deep breath in, sweep your arms out and up, gaze up. Exhale, hinge forward at your hips to fold, starting to build our sun salutation A. In this forward fold, knees can be bent. Take a halfway lift. That might mean coming onto your fingertips, or it might mean sliding your hands up your shins. You want this to feel like the bottom position of your RDL. So soft bend at your knees, flat spine, low belly pulls to spine, hands press into shins. Good. Find the length in your spine. And then exhale, fold. Plank your hands. Step back to a high plank. Good. Wrap your elbows to point back. This time, we'll take a different variation, but you're welcome to come back to that knees down. So reach your heart forward slightly, shifting your shoulders just a little in front of your wrists. Hinge at your elbows, reach the heart forward, 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 all the way down to your belly. Good. Full cobra now. Instead of your baby cobra, hands push into the mat to lift your chest a little higher up. Elbows are still bent. So you've got your baby cobra and your regular cobra. Thighs are on the ground, glutes are squeezing, heart is pulling forward, and imagine you're kind of pulling your hands back towards your hips. Slowly lower your heart down, and then again, you could push it back to child's pose, or you could push straight back to your downward facing dog. That's where you can kind of start making that choice on what you're ready for. Take a full breath in, and a full breath out. From wherever you are, make your way to downward facing dog. Rock forward through table if you are in child. Lift your hips, point your tailbone to the sky. Downward facing dog. Your hands are shoulder width. Your feet are hips distance. Take a full breath in. And a full breath out. You're tipping your pelvis forward to reach the sits bones high. Look towards the top of the mat. Start to walk your feet to the top of the mat. Good. Meeting in a forward fold, head hangs heavy. Full breath in. Full breath out. We'll start to build a little bit faster. We'll start to use our breath, linking one movement to one breath. So inhale, reverse swan dive. Sweep your arms out and up. Squeeze your glutes, gaze up, get tall. And then exhale, sweep it forward and fold over your thighs. Inhale, find that halfway lift, fingertips or hands to shins. It's all about lengthening the spine. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, high plank. Inhale here. Exhale, lower halfway down. You could drop your thighs, or you could keep the thighs lifted, untuck the toes, pull the heart forward, but push the shoulders away from the ears for a full up dog. Good. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, pull your belly to spine, downward facing dog. Again, you have that option to press through a child's or to press through a tabletop instead of right to your down dog. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Look towards the top of the mat. Walk, step, or maybe hop to the top of the mat. Take a full inhale to lengthen your spine, halfway lift. Full exhale to fold and melt. Root to rise. Sweep your arms out and up. Gaze up. Get long, get tall. Pull everything into the midline. High mountain pose. Exhale one more time. Fold forward. Surya Namaskar A. Sun Salutation A. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palm the mat, step back, high plank. Take your vinyasa. So you could shift forward, lower halfway with or without the knees. You could take your baby cobra, you could take your regular cobra, or your upward facing dog, but think shoulders away from ears, push into the earth. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. So nice. You should start to be feeling a little bit of heat building in the body. Full breath in. Full breath out. Look towards the top of the mat. Bend your knees. Make your way to the top of the mat. Walk, step, or hop. We'll meet in a forward fold. So nice. Introducing our first chair pose. So start to bend your knees like you're sitting back into a chair and sweep your arms up. Biceps could come next to the ears, but this does take a lot of mobility at the shoulder. So if it feels better for you, you can keep the hands in line with shoulders out in front of you. Notice the belly. Retuck the tailbone under as if you're doing a tiny little crunch, and then shift your kneecaps back in behind your big toes. Good. Full breath in. Full breath out. One more. Feel your quads firing. And then fold forward at your hips. Inhale, take your halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. Think about a turtle coming out of its shell. Exhale, palm the mat. Step back. High plank to low plank. Elbows graze your rib cage. You lower in one piece. Pull the heart forward. Find your back bend. Squeeze your glutes. Actively push the ground away. And then tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. That is your vinyasa. All right, taking a little bit of a different variation now. So from your down dog, sweep your right leg high to the sky, three-legged dog. Keep using the power of your left thigh. Keep squeezing the kneecap in and up. Keep your right toes dialed to point down towards the earth. And then draw your knee to your nose, shift forward, round your spine, hold. Good, sweep it right back up. Three-legged dog, reach through the heel. Exhale, look forward, step your right foot towards your right thumb, tap your back knee to the ground, untuck through your toes, sweep your arms back, and up. Biceps come next to the ears. Now firmly root down into that front foot. That might shift you back a tiny bit, but that'll help you tuck your tailbone under. You're always pulling the pubic bone forwards towards the belly button. And then find the activation down through the back left foot. Push into the top of the foot. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Hug everything into the midline to stabilize the posture. Then let your hips go a little further forward. Take another deep breath in. And a bigger breath out. Circle your hands down to frame your foot. This is where you might use blocks. Otherwise, fingertips come to the ground. Start to straighten your legs or your right leg as you send your hips back in space. You could walk your hands back with you. Keep lengthen the spine if possible. But if there's a little bit of rounding, totally fine. You can always put a little more of a bend in the front knee and not straighten quite as far. Just take a couple deep inhales to lengthen. Deep exhales to soften. Again, where can you find the effort? But where can you find the ease? Coming back to the breath. Noticing how that shifts the energy of the body. Good. Crawl forward, rebend into the knee. Tuck your left toes under. So you're in this low lunge. Put a little bounce in the back knee. We're just stepping forward to the top of the mat. Fold, hang heavy. Good. Bend your knees, sit back into your chair pose. Biceps sweep up next to the ears. Rock your tailbone down. Pull the knees back behind the big toes. And then see if you can pull your thumbs back a little more in space. And reknit your upper ribs in. So good. Deep breath in. Exhale to sit a little lower. Inhale, stand it tall. Exhale, melt and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. You know the drill. Exhale, hands plant, step it back, high plank. You can take your vinyasa, or you can skip it altogether and push to down dog. If you're taking it, either with or without the knees, you lower halfway. Heart always reaching forward, shoulders drawing together down the back. Good. And then it's a downward facing dog. So nice. Left leg reaches high to the sky. Three-legged dog. Dial the toes to point down. Use the power of your right thigh. Squeeze the thigh to lift the left heel higher. Push into all 10 finger pads. Draw your left knee to your nose round and curl your spine. Shift forward. Good. And then it's right back up. Three-legged dog. Kick through the heel. Exhale, look forward, step forward towards your left thumb, plant the foot, drop your right knee down, untuck your toes, circle your arms back and up. Biceps swim next to the ears. Push down into your right foot, push down into your left foot, zip the inner thighs in, tuck the tailbone, and then find length. Pull the rib cage up off the pelvis. Deep inhale. Exhale, shift a little further forward into your hips. So nice. One more. Deep inhale. Exhale, circle your hands down to frame your foot. And then slowly start to straighten that front leg. You're digging the left heel into the mat a little bit. So you're always finding a little bit of activation, even within the stretch. I like to kind of floint my foot here. So I'm pushing the ball mound forward, but I'm pulling the big toe back. That helps me feel the stretch a little bit more. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Can you come back to that nasal breath? Can you come back to that parasympathetic, that calm and centered state? One more inhale. One more exhale. Crawl forward, breathe into the knee. Right toes tuck under. Little bounce in the back knee to step forward and fold heavy. Good. Full breath in. Full breath out. Sweep your arms out, reverse swan dive, squeeze your glutes to stand tall, high mountain. We'll take our vinyasa last time. Circle the arms down as you fold and let your heart melt towards your thigh. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten out the spine, gaze forward. Exhale, plant your hands, walk, step, or hop to your high plank. Wrap the elbows back. Reach the heart forward, forward, gazes forward, forward, and down. Lower halfway, untuck your toes. You're on the tops of your feet, or thighs could be down if you're taking a cobra. But remember, if you have cobra, soft bend at your elbows. And then it could be down dog, it could be child's pose, wherever feels good after that up dog or cobra. And if you press to a downward facing dog, go ahead and meet us in a child's pose, tap your knees down. Let your heart melt towards your thighs, and notice if this shape feels any different than the very beginning of class. Maybe a little bit more space in the low back. Return to body. Let there be a weighted blanket placed over the mind, dampening the thoughts. Returning back to center. Slowly start to roll up onto your shins. Roll to one side. We're making our way on to our glutes. We're going to take a happy baby in a seated shape. So bring the heels to the widest part of your mat. Reach inside. Peace fingers come around the big toes. And then you want to pull your heart through. You're tugging on the toes to shove the shoulders back in their socket. Knees can open wide. Turn the toes out at an angle. Happy baby shape, but in a seat. So just take a few moments, feel the external rotation as your knees open out to the sides, feel the spine lengthen, and then maybe you take a couple cats and cows in this shape, and notice how it feels, that flexion and extension of your spine with a little bit of resistance in your fingers. So nice. We're going to take a seated spinal twist. So come back through center here. Let your left leg go long. Cross your right foot over your left thigh. Give it a nice little hug in. Feel your glutes stretch out. And then your left hand can either wrap around the thigh, or you can take your elbow and plug it outside the knee, whichever feels best. Right arm reaches up. Reach all the way back and around. Plug your right hand right next to your sacrum. Extend the arm. Pull the right shoulder back. Gaze over your right shoulder. And you can kind of use that left elbow to turn yourself a little more. What you're looking for in every twist is to find a long, tall spine, a long, nice axis of rotation around which you can rotate. Good. One more deep breath in. And out. Slowly start to unwind through center. Right leg goes long. Left sole of the foot plants on the outside of your right thigh. Give the knee a little hug in. Sit down onto both sits bones. Right arm can wrap around, or right elbow can go over the kneecap. Inhale, left arm reaches up and around behind you. Pull the left head of the shoulder back. Broaden across your collarbone. Sit up a little taller. Reach through the crown of the head. Then let your gaze go over your shoulder. Let your belly soften here. You really want this twist to come from the mid-back. So soften down all the ab muscles, the digestive organs. Deep breath in. Big breath out. And then unwind through center. Both legs go long. Scoot yourself forward if you need to. Give your legs a little shake. Arms reach out in front of you. Slowly roll down your spine onto your back. Good. So you're using the core here to give each vertebrae its own little moment. And then when you get there, hook your thumbs, reach your arms overhead, reach your legs long towards the front of the mat. Getting long through your spine, and then hug everything in. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. We'll finish with a happy baby. So you know how it felt sitting up. Grab for peace, fingers around big toes. If that's not available, you can grab underneath the thighs. Wrap your hands around the thighs, and then use your hands to pull the kneecaps wide. So wherever you are, you're reaching your knees wide, your heels to the ceiling, and you're rocking your tailbone down to see if you can get your whole spine lengthened onto the mat. Take a couple full inhales and full exhales. Coming back to the breath. It's that constant, kind of like the bass of any song. It's that constant underlying rhythm, controlled by the diaphragm right under the rib cage. So oftentimes when we get anxious, when we get nervous, we kind of tense up through the mid-body into the belly, and our breath becomes shallow, and then we get less oxygen, and we can't think as clearly. So whenever you notice frustration, anxiety, nervousness, can you soften down through the belly? Can you send the breath a little lower? Can you come back to your center? Last deep breath in. Exhale, let your feet come down to the ground. You might sway your knees side to side a little bit. You might take a full Shavasana, let your legs go long, and take a moment of rest. Wherever you need to go, feel free to go there. I'm going to rock my way up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining me on this foundation journey. Hopefully by the end of this series, we'll have answered all of your yoga-related questions like what is a vinyasa, what is an upward facing dog. Little by little, each class will build on the next, and we'll finish off with a nice advanced fun class. So I can't wait to see you back on the mat. I'm Shelby Hicks, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining. This whole week we will practice this yoga because this is for beginner and we are starting new. And after this week, how we will feel, based on that, we will start another yoga workout. Hope you guys enjoyed today. Thank you for joining in. See you tomorrow at the same time, 5:30 p.m. California time and 7 a.m. India time. Thank you. Keep your notification on so that as soon as we become live, you get notified. Thank you.